Greetings everyone, my name is Greg. In this video I am going to talk primarily to new atheists, especially those that would be living at home with your parents, or even if you're not living with your parents, if you're around a religious type of community and so forth that may not take well the idea of you're saying you're an atheist. I had one say that he calls himself agnostic, and I pointed out that that doesn't answer the question as far as belief, that Gnostic and agnostic deal with knowledge, theist and atheist deal with belief. But I also recognize that for a lot of Christians, they have this idea that it goes from believer, atheist, and in the middle is agnostic. That's not the case. That's not accurate. It's not a 3-point in that regard. If anything, it would be a 4. Because you can have someone that is agnostic and a theist, or an agnostic atheist. Or you can have a Gnostic theist, which would be somebody that is claiming to know that there is a God, which I would say, okay, prove it. And on the other side of that, you could have somebody that would claim, and I've never seen anyone do this, to be a Gnostic atheist. To being, I know there is no God. Which, again, if you're saying you know something, then demonstrate how you know this. The issue is really, do you believe or don't you? The aspect of what you know, that is a separate issue. Because, frankly, I've said, I've used the term for myself, I'm an agnostic, atheist, anti-theist, and epistemist. All 4 address different questions, different issues. The thing is, for those that are in either living with parents that are religious or whatnot, or around a community that you would have issues because of coming out and saying you're an atheist. For some, saying you're a Satanist, they would receive it better, because at least then they would take it as you're still buying into the God versus Satan dynamic, at least in their mind, even though most Satanists are atheists. The Levian type of Satanists are definitely atheists. I just term them atheists in devil clothes. And if you want to dress up like it's Halloween all the time, that's up to you. I don't give a shit. The thing is, what I would push for is honesty. Be honest with yourself. Above all else. Even if you have to lie to somebody else, be honest with yourself. But I understand when it comes to coming out as an atheist, you're going to get attacked. And that is one of the big reasons why I do the videos that I do in the way that I do. Because the videos that I don't do them to be short and cute. I do them very similar to how I was with internet radio. That they're geared pretty much that they could fit into a time slot of an hour program, with commercial type of things broke in and shoved in there. That the videos that I do would pretty much easily fit into that block of time. But it's also to really educate on a subject, to fully cover a subject. Now, there are some subjects that would require more than one, but that's a different issue. Like the interviews that I've done with Mark Powers, that would be in the internet radio type. Those would be more of a 2-show to maybe even 3-show type of thing. because of the nature of what we're covering, because there's so much that we're trying to cover at one time. And for those that are new to atheism or questioning their beliefs, the first thing I would say is be clear on what is your issue with Christianity. It won't be the same for everybody. For some, it will be the aspect of reading the Bible. It just seems and comes across as this is impossible. This is bullshit. I get that. It's not what did it for me, but it is very individual. It will be based very much on you. It will show where your head is, where you're coming from in this issue. Because that's, in a sense, for you. Be clear on what the straw that broke the camel's back was. I will tell you what it was for me. I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it as often as I need to. For me, the catalyst was, even if I would be accepted into this heaven bullshit, whatever that is, could I sit back and accept the idea of somebody else being tortured, or the fact of somebody else being tortured? And I really thought about that, and I didn't just do a knee-jerk type of decision. I thought about that hard. And what I ultimately realized is, for good or for ill, no, I can't. No matter what harm could come to me as a result, me as a person, who I am, I could not go along with that. I would have to stand up and say, even if I would be quote unquote safe in this heaven type of shit, and I see that or know that's happening, I would have to stand up and say this is wrong. Now, there might be some Christians that would try to take the approach of, well, God would wipe the memory of them from you. Really? Do you think about what you're actually saying that this God would do? If there would be a God that would behave in such a sadistic, horrifying manner, one, it's not good. Just because it calls itself good doesn't make it good. I would have a hard time believing that I could just forget about somebody that I loved, somebody that was close to me. Especially like if I don't have kids, but if I would have a kid and I would be in this heaven type of thing and they wouldn't be there, my thought I would have to be, where's my kid? Where the hell are they? And then it would be a matter of raising hell to find, where is my child? Don't tell me that you're going to just take the memory of them from the person's mind. Because then, if you're doing that, if that is happening, then the person there is not themselves. They are having parts of them ripped away because, oh, this won't fit, this won't fit, this won't fit, this won't fit. And if you're going to do that, if a God would do that, why not have everyone there and just rip out the pieces that you don't like? But then when you do that, you are completely saying, fuck you to free will. Fuck you to who the person really was. That the God doesn't want them as a person, who they really are. It wants bits and pieces of them. It doesn't want the real them. And in that, it's as much of a monster or more so than Hitler. And if that's what you're worshiping, just be clear on what you are embracing. There is also, when you're a new atheist or when you come out to religious parents, like my dad would not debate religion with me. He tried when I was younger, back when I was a Christian. And I remember I had asked him at one point, and this was when I was a Christian, I was like, the God of the Old Testament was very insecure about anyone worshiping anyone but him. Yet, in the New Testament, it's basically that God is taking a backseat to Jesus. Why is this being done? And I asked my dad, why would the God in the Old Testament, it's all about him, but then all of a sudden the New Testament comes along and it's, oh, screw me, just go after my kid. I don't matter. This makes no sense. And my dad gave me the old, nobody knows, just have faith. Well, even as a kid, that was not, I knew that wasn't an answer. That didn't answer my question. And that's what really, there were seeds of my anti-theism building. Because it's not just, because my anti-theism is not just my disbelief in a God. It is that deals with my opposition to the theistic ideas, the God of theism. It is why when I walked away from Christianity, yeah, I initially termed myself a deist, but I also, for about 6 months, I was looking into Satanism. I didn't really say at the time of being a Satanist, but I had read the Satanic Bible and I found aspects of it that, yeah, I could go along with this. And it dawned on me that it was basically atheism in devil clothes. So it was one of, well, fuck me. If I'm going to be an atheist, I'm going to be an atheist. I'm not going to be an atheist dressing up as the devil. It's one, that type of imagery doesn't bother me. It would be more of a mask. It would be going from one mask to another. And initially I could see where that could be, in a sense, a path somebody would want to take. But one of the things I also pointed out to the person yesterday, it was a bit of a snarky that you can do. It was one I had thought of back when I was a little kid. The idea of all you have to do is say you believe in Jesus and everything you did is wiped away. Then what would be there to stop somebody from living their entire life as however the fuck they want, doing whatever the hell they want to do to anyone without any regard for anyone, and then right before they die I accept Jesus as my Savior. What's Jesus under Christianity, what is the God going to do? You lived your entire life as evil as you fucking want, and then you know you're going to die, so I'll mouth the words. And Christians, if you want to say that the person wouldn't be authentic, prove how you would know what's in their heart. How would you know in that moment that they didn't have a conversion type of shit? The thing is, what you're doing with that is giving an absolute fuck you to everyone else. It is saying it is all about me, fuck you, I'll do what I want. And that's what Christianity is about. That is the core message of Christianity. You have the biggest loophole in human history. It is a loophole so big you could drive 50 Sherman tanks through it at one time. To act as if this God would give a flying fuck about justice is bull. So it can't be. Even putting aside everything else I've said in my other videos, with Christianity, it can't be true. Just on the aspect of the morality issue. Because you can, anything where you can have, that you can do anything you want, and then that quick have everything washed away. No accountability, no having to pay for what you've done. It is disgusting. It is the single biggest evil philosophy that this world has ever seen. If a God would exist, that type of thing would have to piss it off. If it would care at all about justice, that would have to infuriate it. The thing is, according to the book, what is written in Christianity, in the New Testament, that is all somebody has to do. Don't give me this, they have to make amends. That's not there. You're adding to what is there. And there is also, by the Revelation bullshit, what happens if you add to this bullshit, as well as take away from. So you have to go by what is fucking there. But getting back to this, for new atheists, identify what it is that was the straw that broke the camel's back for you. Because when you come out, you're going to have Christians trying to throw at you everything they can think of regarding what Jesus' miracles aren't evidence. And I've done videos that I tear apart these different ideas, like the resurrection, as if that proves something. They think that that is some great, this is our golden ticket. It's empty. For anyone that would try to, when they would try to pull the aspect of Jesus and that shit, I've done videos on the aspect of Passover. That Passover was never about sin. That would be a very important one to point out, because there you could walk them through their Bible and show them the aspect of Passover, because Jesus supposedly was killed on Passover, although the time he was killed is in question. The thing is, Jesus was supposedly killed at Passover. Passover had nothing to do with sin, salvation, or forgiveness. Passover was entirely about the God killing innocent babies. And that is, for those that are curious, Exodus chapter 12, verses 1 through 14. In the videos that I've done, that are, you could almost use the term of lectures, I go through and I show you and I give book, chapter, and verse. If you're wanting to arm yourself for a battle against a religious family, take notes. I give you all of the weapons that you will need to completely dismantle Jesus. The Christians, religious, will try to cling to certain ideas as a go-to, like Jesus is God, but Jesus never said that. The ideas that there's one spot, the aspect of when you see the Father, you see the Son, that's bullshit. It is just pure bullshit. Because it is written in the Old Testament, Numbers 23:19, God is not a man or a son of a man. There is also the fact, and this came out with the interviews I did with Mark Powers, and you can look it up with Strong's Concordance or with an eSword Bible, the word sons of God, or the words sons of God. and put in the S, sons of God, and do a search on the phrase. And what you will see is there are multiple occurrences where the phrase sons of God comes up, and it is referring to angels. Angels are called sons of God. So for Christians to say Jesus was the only Son of God is bullshit. They're trying to rewrite the story to fit their narrative. It doesn't work. You can tear apart all of the so-called miracles that Jesus did by Jesus' own words, or at least the words that are attributed to him, because we have no idea if he actually said this or not. And that is John 14:12, where he said, "Those that believe on me, the works that I do, he shall do also." Now he goes on to say in greater things, but fuck the greater things. If you aren't able to do the base miracles that this Jesus did, supposedly, you're not fitting the base requirement of what he said. So why would the greater things fucking matter? You're not hitting the base. If you can't do the minimum of what was said, why try to worry about the maximum? Hit the minimum first, then talk to me. And that's what these Christians don't do. None of them do it, because none of them can. And they'll try to act like, well, that's God would be doing it. Exactly. And that's where Jesus had said that it wasn't him that did it, but God. That was stated in verse 10 of John 14. So, because in John 14, the disciples were asking Jesus, show us the Father. They were questioning him. And he tried blowing smoke up their ass. The thing is, it was a dodge and weave, much like a boxer in a ring. Just dodge and weave. That's what they're trying to do. The thing is, you can't get away from it. Now, Jesus also hangs himself in John 14:14, where he says, anything you ask in my name, I will do it. Well, that's been debunked millions, if not billions of times by Christians, because it's almost daily that we see people asking for prayers for a child, or like if you're a wrestling fan, Ric Flair's in the hospital and so forth, and you hear it's a cliche now, our thoughts and prayers are with him. That's all well and good. I'm sure it makes some feel better, but I personally look at it and roll my eyes. Because if you're able to do magical wishes for somebody, why does he have to be having medical care? Why aren't your magical wishes able to just poof, he's better? We know that doesn't work. All of us know that doesn't work. You can't heal somebody by, I wish, I wish, I wish. And to try and act like you can change someone's position like mine, I'll pray for you. You're not going to change my thoughts through, I wish, I wish, I wish. If you want it, in order to change my thoughts, you have to prove your case. You have to present evidence to me that proves what you're saying. It's not enough for you to wish something. But the thing is, there are so many areas where a religious person will try to throw at you, and it will be things with Jesus if you're going from Christianity. So arm yourself on why Jesus was a fraud. I have an entire video series on Jesus was a fraud, where I go through multiple aspects of Jesus being a fraud. There's no shortage of information in that regard. But yes, arm yourself. Have yourself feel that you're at a position of certainty, that you know your shit. As my mentor had said, have your ducks in a row. Because the aspect, when I came out to my dad and told him that I'm an atheist, I did this when I was in my mid-30s. I was living on my own and so forth, so I didn't have the living under his roof type of thing. But it was a good decade after I had walked away from Christianity. And his reaction when I first told him was, how? We raised you differently. And it's one of, how? I have a brain. I can think for myself. And I also pointed out my disdain and utter, you could even use the term rage, at the idea of people being tortured. This hell notion. For Christians, they cling to it, because if you take that away, what incentive is there to buy their bullshit? There's none. They have nothing. They need to have the threat of you'll be tortured if you don't do X in order to have the carrot and stick that perpetuates their religion. If you take away the hell notion, as I did, and point out how it is impossible, whether if you consider hell a spiritual thing, then you can't have physical torture. If you call it a physical thing, it doesn't fucking matter, because this is only after you're fucking dead, and after you're dead, the physical body rots, the central nervous system's dead. So what the fuck would a physical torture matter? As far as I'm concerned, I had thought about being cremated, but after listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm kind of leaning the other way now. Because he had said about, pretty much when he dies, letting flora and fauna feed on his body as he fed on flora and fauna his whole life. And I'm just kind of, that is poetic. But whether or not you go into the ground to rot or are cremated and so forth, it doesn't matter, because either way, I'm not going to feel a fucking thing, because I'll be dead. So what happens, how this body is disposed of, it really doesn't mean a hell of shit to me. Because, it's grim to think about it, but as far as I would be concerned, you could have someone there with a chainsaw just hacking up my body after I'm dead. I wouldn't give two shits. It would be grisly as a motherfucker for them. I would not feel it, because I would be dead. So, no matter what, after someone is dead, that's it. Their feeling of anything is done. But all of this, it's just a matter of when you are coming out as an atheist, that you will be bombarded with various things. And I would hope my videos can give you the ammunition to feel comfortable in being able to defend your position and being able to recognize the bullshit that they will try and throw at you, because I can guarantee you they will throw some serious bullshit, some serious scare tactics of, if you don't think X, you're going to be tortured. Well, that doesn't work. And that is the best they have. But that in itself reveals just how evil the mindset is. Because if the philosophy and mindset of Christianity would be good and love, then it wouldn't need threats to perpetuate it. It would be based on love, not you have to do this or else. There is no or else with real love. And one final thought. Unconditional love. Christians will give it lip service. They will say this God loves unconditionally. But yet in Christianity, it has a massive fucking condition. Unless you think as it demands, according to Christianity. Unless you think X, you're going to be tortured, which means it doesn't love you. Because you don't torture those you love. The thing is, with Christianity, the love is not unconditional, it's goddamn conditional. You don't get any more conditional than Christianity. And you could even throw in Islam. That the God or Allah will love you so long as you do XYZ. As long as you goose step, as it says. Otherwise it won't. You can't call that unconditional anything. That's conditional. The moment you put a condition on it, you lose the ability to say it's unconditional. If there would be a God, if there would be something, and it would love unconditionally, then what you think and so forth would not matter. It would not change how it feels. It wouldn't change its love for you. Which, by that token, there would be nothing you could do that it would torture you. Because if you love someone, you do not torture them. That's just the nature of how, basically what it means to love. Loving someone means you're not going to hurt them. And if you do, especially if you unintentionally hurting somebody is different from intentionally torturing someone. I don't want Christians to be able to be, well, you can accidentally or unintentionally hurt someone and you're still hurting them. Fine. But you're not intending to. Torturing somebody is not, oopsies. You can't be, oopsies, I burned you at the stake. Oopsies. You can't do that. Or, oopsies, I chopped you into pieces. Oopsies. No. You don't get to do that, Christians. Don't be stupid. Don't try to play stupid. You do it so well. Thing is, true love doesn't hurt, doesn't try to inflict fear. And this is why another way we can know Christianity is absolutely evil. To use another term from their own bastard Jesus, a tree is judged by its fruit. What kind of fruit is thought crime and torture? Think about it. Do you call thought crime and torture good fruit or bad? When you have that answer, you will have the answer as to what Christianity is, because that is the heart of John 3:16. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, people.